You're listening to 5 Minutes of English with Laura Pickens, a short podcast about the way we actually talk, like for real. My latest marriage might be my favorite one yet. Hi, my name's Laura. I'm an American living in Russia, and I work as a speech coach. I help Russian speakers speak English better with private speaking sessions. But I also have an Instagram account where I share daily videos about my life here as an American living in such a different country than the one I grew up in. It was in one of my videos I was talking about my last marriage, and one of my good friends who speaks English amazing had such a good question. But it was so complicated, even his question was complicated. When I said last marriage, do I mean last as previous, or do I mean last as in I will never get married again? And then we started talking about all the different ways we use the word last and latest, and I realized this is great content for learning. So here we are. How can you determine when you see the word last if it means previous or the final one? Let's look at some examples. My last marriage before this one was a disaster. We can clearly see that I mean previous. My last marriage was a disaster, so I'm never doing that again. I do mean previous again. That was my last marriage. Now I mean final. I'm done. In each of these situations, I am saying my last marriage. There's nothing in that can help you decide whether I mean previous or final. And I'm using them all in past tense as well. If I use present tense, this is my last marriage. I do mean final. I do not plan on getting married again. This is as bad as my last marriage. It's present tense, but I'm referring to something in the past. Therefore, it means previous. While he was asking me this question, to try to clarify, he made up the word lastest, which I think was his way of saying final, but I read it as latest marriage. So my latest marriage is the one I am in now, but using the word latest implies that it is a short temporary time, which means like I'm collecting husbands. My latest marriage has taken me to a lot of different places. I can't wait to see what my next marriage brings. I won't have a next marriage. This is my last marriage. So to sum up, last can mean previous or final, and there's not really great ways to determine which one we mean other than the context. But if you're trying to decipher the context, then the grammar might not help you. So if someone says their last marriage, you're not sure if they're talking about the previous one or their final one, and it might be worth asking. But if they say latest, they mean current and one that definitely has an expiration date. Thank you guys so much for listening. I create these podcasts every week. We're starting off 2026 with an easy one. I plan on every Friday creating these for you. You can learn more about them on my website, which is laurapickens.ru/podcast. And I also have a Telegram group where you can interact with me, and I take daily tips that come straight from my sessions with my clients, where we analyze things that they've said, find techniques to find the missing word that they couldn't find, or interesting grammar things that come up with them as they do with many of my clients. The common mistakes or misunderstanding of a word or a cultural moment which gets in the way of understanding language. You can benefit, just like my clients do, from my expertise of teaching English for over 16 years, as well as my understanding of Russian culture. I bridge the gap between these two cultures and these two languages in my private sessions and on my Telegram group and on my Instagram. You can find me there by looking up Laura Pickens. With that, guys, I will see you with next week's podcast. Goodbye.